This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim pass the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, folks. Tonight is a big game, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks versus the Milwaukee Bucks, 8 o'clock. And I think I got it wrong. It's not at MSG. It's actually in Milwaukee. So I'm going to change that in just a second. But I got Uncle Fulio in the building. We got Andy in the building. Fellas, what's going on? Talk to me about this game as I fix what's on the screen. Talk to me about this game, what you think about it. Andy, what's going on, man?
What up, Sam? What up, Josh? Happy to be on. Listen, I wasn't on this week that much because, it was games. I only did the pre-games. Then I had to watch the game. Then I couldn't see the post-game until we got the next game. So it was hectic for me. Happy to be on with you guys. Sam, if I can say something before we even go to the game.
Yep.
Happy birthday to Cornerstone Kev. Today is his birthday. This is the first birthday this year because you remember last year he had like 3 birthdays. so this year it's his first birthday. Happy birthday, Kev. And going back to the game, I think this is definitely the hardest game on the Knicks schedule till this day in the season. I think it's going to be a really, really hard and grinding out game because the Bucks are in terrific shape. Actually, I think they're the last team without taking an L this season.
Yeah,
So
they're undefeated right
let's
now.
hope that's going to change today.
Yeah, they're undefeated. Uncle Fulio, what's good, man?
Afternoon, Sim. I don't know what time it is in Poland right now.
Right.
Andy, good night, I guess. Good evening and salute to the NBK fam in the chat out there. I think this is a big test for the Knicks. I think this is the biggest test since Memphis, the first game of the season. So hopefully the Knicks are able to continue what they've been doing offensively. But I'm really intrigued by the defense. I want to know how the Knicks are going to be able to defend Milwaukee based on everything we know about Milwaukee and the matchup. So I'm interested. Let's go.
Yeah, it's definitely a big early season test for the New York Knicks. Giannis is playing out of his mind so far this season. Not that he doesn't any other season, but he's really so far over 3 games playing tremendous basketball. And how do the Knicks, Julius Randle and the Knicks, defend Giannis is going to be a big question for tonight's game. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not going to be easy. There's no doubt about it. And right now, he's called upon to really put up the kind of numbers he's putting up because, they've got injuries. Their second best player is out. You know what I mean? So he's got to put up those kind of numbers. Right? Looking at the injury report, and you can see it scrolling along the top of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, Quentin Grimes for the New York Knicks continues to be out. No telling when he's going to get back. I'm no longer racking my brain about what's going on or what's wrong with Quentin Grimes. I'll just wait until the Knicks announce it and just let Cam Reddish ball out, or hope that Cam Reddish balls out until he's back. For the Milwaukee Bucks, Chris Middleton is out. Pat Connaughton is out. Ingles is out. I mean, he'll probably be out the entire season. But the Milwaukee Bucks are a good basketball team with good depth. So even though they have one of their main guys out, that these guys can play basketball and they know how to win without having their decks stacked. You know what I mean? Looking at the projected starting lineups for these two teams, for the New York Knicks, it's Jalen Brunson, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. And then for the Milwaukee Bucks, you have Drew Holiday, you have Carter, you have Grayson Allen, Antetokounmpo, and you have Brook Lopez. Right? Normally at the shooting guard spot would be Chris Middleton. But obviously Chris Middleton is not playing tonight. All right, so this right here, when you look at Drew Holiday and you look at Jalen Brunson, I mean, these guys are almost the same player. You know what I mean? In the same way that Drew Holiday was able to join the Milwaukee Bucks and help lead them to a championship, it's the same way that Jalen Brunson is right now joining the New York Knicks and helping them elevate their level of play and become a much better team, and we hope playoff team. You know what I'm saying? But they're doing almost the exact same thing. This right here is going to be a very, very good matchup. This is going to be a battle. Jalen Brunson and Drew Holiday. I think it's going to be a battle. Josh, what do you think about this matchup right here?
Sam, I agree with you 100%. I mean, if you look at before Drew Holiday got to Milwaukee, everyone had those questions about Giannis. Can he be able to take Milwaukee to a final? The same thing we're talking about with all these other players, Donovan Mitchell and all these other superstar players. That was the question. And then they got their point guard, brought him in there, very efficient, really good defender. Almost, mirror images as far as, what they bring to each other's teams respectively to Jalen Brunson. So I totally agree with you on that. And I think this matchup today is just going to be a wash. But I totally agree with you.
A wash. Okay. All right. Andy, any thoughts about this matchup?
Yeah, actually, I think it's going to be a really important matchup. But I'm with Josh. This might be a wash. Adding to what you guys said before, I think these guys are basically the same player character wise, right? They're team first. They would, if a team needs shooting, needs scoring, they're gonna try to do that. But they will do everything and leave everything on the court just for the team to get a W.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the most important qualities of both of these players.
Yeah, Drew Holiday right now is averaging 13 points and 7.3 assists for the Milwaukee Bucks. Ladies and gentlemen, he's only shooting 31.3% from the field. He's shooting 25% from three, so he hasn't really been shooting well. But, he's a warrior, he's a leader, he's a defender. You know what I mean? It's going to be a battle. I'm sure Jalen Brunson is used to playing against Drew Holiday, but in a Knicks uniform and for the New York Knicks, we're not used to having a player that can match up with Drew Holiday or match up with other point guards that's out there. So for us, it's exciting to have, to be able to say, yeah, Jalen Brunson can come out there and go to work and possibly give Drew Holiday the business, because he is averaging 20 points per game for the New York Knicks so far this season. Looking at this matchup, I mean, for the most part, we know we need Jalen Brunson to do what he's been doing, right? 20 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 8.5 assists per game for Jalen Brunson. And, I was one in the beginning of the season who said I thought Julius Randle was still going to lead the team in assists. And I was wrong. I think now I'm looking at it now and I'm like, yeah, Jalen Brunson is going to lead the team in assists. He just has the ball in his hands a lot more. He's shooting Jalen Brunson. Let's see what he's shooting so far from the field. I know he's shooting a pretty good percentage. I got all the splits up. I'll get back to it. But is there anything in this game in particular that you think we need to see from Jalen Brunson? Jalen Brunson is shooting 51.7% from the field, 41.2% from three. Really good numbers so far as percentages are concerned, and of course his stats. Is there anything different you think you need from Jalen Brunson in this game? I mean, does he need to be the scoring leader? Does he need to be that guy tonight? Because, they have Antetokounmpo, and Julius Randle is not going to be able to score the way Giannis can score. So do you think Jalen Brunson has to be the one to take that load, or is it going to be somebody else?
I think if it comes, it comes to him. I think it'll come naturally, if anything. The way the Knicks are moving the basketball right now, we've said it on many occasions that anybody in this lineup can go get hot and be that guy on a given night. So it could be Jalen Brunson, but there's other people that need to step up as well. RJ, we talk about him all the time. Fournier needs to step up and have a big game. So it really can just be anyone. the way the Knicks are playing their basketball. We're trying to move away from, that one person kind of taking, being there, that person every night, holding on to the basketball, things like that. I think whoever it is, it just has to show.
I agree. But, in crunch time, I think it still is going to come down to your best players who have to get it done. And, I think I'm really kind of talking about that. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it in the last game from Jalen Brunson. I feel like we're going to need to see it in this game as well. You know what I mean? Because Julius Randle is I'm not going to say he's going to be neutralized. He's going to be he's got everything to deal with Giannis. You know what I mean? So now you're going to be asking, just like we've asked R.J. Barrett with Ja Morant, some other guys, to defend these guys and still be able to produce on the other side. You're asking Julius Randle to do that, and it may be a tough task, which means R.J. Barrett needs to step in too, I think. You know what I mean? He needs to step in, have a good game, hopefully Evan Fournier. Andy, what's your thoughts, man?
Well, my thoughts on Brunson being, the scoring focus of the Knicks offense is like towards the end, like you were saying. I think he's gonna have way bigger of a challenge than he had in the previous games. For one, Holiday is a great defender. He's a strong player, right? Meanwhile, the last couple of games he was playing versus young players that he could, take it to him, put him in the post and stuff like that. This is going to be one of these guys that you basically, maybe you can try to do it, but it's going to be really harder to score on Holiday in the post or any kind of way actually than versus the other guys. So I think that's going to be one of the main key things that might differ the game that Brunson had previously. But I'm with Josh. I think the Knicks offense has to be really team oriented, and and the ball has to move. Everybody has to get touches, and that's going to be the weapon that the Knicks have as the primary thing to get this offense going.
Yeah. Evan Fournier. Oh, I did want to highlight one comment. Mac S said Brunson is better offensively and Holiday is better defensively. I do agree. Brunson is better offensively a little bit, at least right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. But Holiday is definitely better defensively. I mean, he's a stalwart defensively. You know what I mean? That guy could play some defense. Evan Fournier and Javon Carter. Look, I don't think Evan Fournier has much to worry about with Carter. You know what I mean? Obviously, anyone in the NBA at any time can start to heat up. And let's hope that Javon Carter doesn't have, a big game against the Knicks, but I think he's coming in averaging like 2.3 points per game. He's going to be out there for defensive purposes right now. You know what I mean? So, this could be a night, maybe Evan Fournier doesn't have to work as hard. I mean, he's got to work on the defensive end no matter what. But maybe his attention span doesn't have to be as like if he's guarding Kelly Oubre, you know what I mean? And maybe his energy can go into what he does offensively. Played a good 14 points in the last game. You know what I mean? This might be a night that Evan Fournier steps in and gets some buckets. We haven't seen a big game from Evan Fournier yet this season. This could be one of those nights, given and looking at some of the matchups throughout this game. This could be where Evan Fournier could have a big one. Andy, what do you think?
Well, listen, if Carter is going to be on Fournier, that might be the case. But since he's a great defender, we might see him on RJ. He might be a little bit smaller than RJ, but then again,
6'1".
Grayson Allen is also he's a pesky defender.
Right.
You don't like those kind of defenders when you're a shooter. They go under your knees. I'm not a fan of those guys if they're playing on the opposite team.
Yeah, Grayson Allen 6'4", Javon Carter 6'1".
Yeah, but listen, they're like you said, Sim. They're in the NBA, and you don't get into the NBA if you don't have a certain skill set. And if these guys are playing for one of the top teams in the NBA in the starting lineup, that means they have a role on that team.
Right.
And the role, like you say, might be the defense. Exceptions on the other players, and maybe the Grayson Allen actually is a great shooter from three.
He can shoot.
He
He can
Yeah,
shoot.
he can shoot the ball. And listen, if you have a guy like Giannis, which is an offensive focus, he can spread the ball and get you hurt by those 3-point shooters. Not to mention Brook Lopez, another one that can stretch the floor. Holiday also can knock down a three every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, this is the Bucks, so you got to worry about each and every of these guys on the court.
Yeah, and I think this year, their scoring isn't. They're not as prolific as Josh would like to say. But a lot of that is because Chris Middleton isn't there. When Chris Middleton comes back, you might see a change. But defensively, right now they have the number 1 defensive rating in the league. We're going to look at some of those numbers shortly.
Yeah.
The Knicks haven't played a defense this tough yet. So that's going to be a challenge for this team. And that's why guys like Carter and Grayson Allen are in that lineup. And then you got Drew Holiday in that lineup as well. From the guard standpoint, these guys, from the guard and the wing standpoint, defensively, they're going to be tough. They're definitely going to be tough. I think that Grayson Allen will defend R.J. Barrett, and Carter will probably defend Evan Fournier. Because R.J. can post. You wouldn't want R.J. posting up a 6'1" Javon Carter, right? Where Carter can kind of chase Evan Fournier around and maybe get up underneath him and even stop him from getting into that shooting motion. Just thinking in the terms of the Milwaukee Bucks right now. So I think it would be Javon Carter guarding Evan Fournier, Grayson Allen defending R.J. Barrett. 2 tough defenders. You know what I mean? If you got, looking at RJ and Grayson Allen, I mean, I believe RJ should win that matchup. But what are you doing? Like you said, Grayson Allen is a feisty defender, right? What are you doing? If you're RJ, one, don't let the kid get into your head, right? Because that can happen. And I don't know. What are you doing? How are you attacking Grayson Allen? Did they play together at Duke?
Good question. I think RJ already left. I think RJ, no, maybe. I don't know. It's a good question.
Not sure. They may have.
But Sim, to answer your question, I think we're kind of micro analyzing this whole thing. I think the answer is simple for me. Move without the basketball. Make Grayson Allen work. A lot of times we focus in on the height of players for matchup purposes, but I think it goes a little bit beyond that. I think if RJ moves without the basketball, plays within the flow of the offense, I think those looks, he's getting good looks. It's not like he's taking bad shots. He's getting good looks. He just has to basically knock those shots down, get into the mid-range, use his strength to get into the mid-range, and be able to kind of find his spots on the floor. There's no excuse right now for RJ, right? Yeah, we have the point guard there for him. He's getting ample opportunity to take shots. I think he shot the ball 21 times the last game, right, with the overtime and everything like that. There's no excuse for him, right? So continue to play the way you're playing, move without the basketball, and eventually the basketball will find you. And I think that's the best way for to get RJ in the spot so he can be able to score.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Andy?
Yeah. My adjustments towards RJ's offensive game would be to try to cut to the hoop, but without taking that many dribbles, which means, getting off a screen and then getting the pass. Try to not take that many dribbles, because when we see RJ trying to create for himself, he literally takes like 5-6 dribbles after he crosses the 3-point line. And that's plenty, if you ask me, just to get to the hoop. And not to mention that he's not squaring up. He's not going strong enough for me to feel comfortable with him taking those shots. Josh said that it's not bad shots. I'm actually, not feeling comfortable with those shots. I think when he would be having that last step, making his body go towards the hoop, I would be more happy with that. We got to remember the Bucks are the best blocking team currently in the NBA. Yes. I think that their blocking number is like 9.3.
Like 9.3 blocks per game.
Yeah. So listen, RJ is gonna get 3 of those at least today. So he better think about it before he makes that move.
Yeah. I mean, with Brook Lopez and Giannis defending down there, both of those guys, I mean, for the most part, 2 7-footers down there. You know what I mean? And they can, Lopez isn't going to be as aggressively blocking shots, but he's long, get his hand up in the air. He can, make a change of shot. And Antetokounmpo can be aggressive if he wants to, because he that style of a player. So I agree. RJ getting to the basket, show some craftiness, throw some pump fakes. I never see RJ throw a pump fake when he gets under the basket and gets inside. He gets the ball on the right side, comes down the left lane, and goes up with the left. But I never see him come up, throw a pump fake, maybe get the guy in the air, use his body to get fouled and go to the line. Maybe that's something, he needs to start to utilize so that he can score over people, get to the line, et cetera, et cetera. I think RJ Barrett, every night RJ Barrett is a big key to this team. But tonight, with Brunson and Randle having 2 big matchups, RJ's going to have to step in, I think. RJ's got to step in. Maybe Fournier's got to step in. One of those 2 guys need to have a big night tonight, in my opinion.
Sim, essentially, RJ and Fournier are like in the off-the-ball role in this kind of Knick offense, right? So RJ, those catch-and-shoot threes that he was making in the preseason, I think for him, to get his confidence up, he just needs to hit those shots. And then ultimately, as the season goes on, he'll get more of an on-the-ball role as, things start to happen within the offense. And I think he can kind of take his game to the next level from there. But I think as of right now, in this starting lineup, RJ is an off-the-ball player, and he just needs to take his opportunities when he has them. And catch and shoot threes, they're going to be there, right? The Knicks are moving the ball well enough for him to get those open catch and shoot threes. And when he's getting the ball off the ball and slashing movements and things of that nature, he gets it and then, is making a drive to the basket. He has to be able to capitalize on those as well. So he just needs to take advantage of the opportunity he has right now. I don't think it's anything extra that he needs to do within the offense.
I mean, but see, I think using pump fakes, using those skill moves is a way for him to take advantage of the opportunities that he has. Because
but that's individual though. I thought you were asking about like what can Thibodeau do to get him to,
Well,
that's
no, I'm not talking about Thibodeau doing anything. I'm just saying against Grayson Allen, how do you attack Grayson Allen? I'm not saying anything that Thibodeau has to, any adjustments he has to make. But, when you're a player and you see someone matched up, you might say, well, I'm going to take him down low. Or I know he doesn't have the flight of foot. So, let me get the ball in this isolation every 5 possessions so I can attack him. You know what I mean? So when you're playing against different players, it's just different mindsets going against those players and how, you're going to try to beat that person. Against Grayson Allen, if it's me, I'm going to put RJ in the post. You know what I mean? Let him use his height against him. Also, Grayson Allen is an aggressive player. You know what I mean? So if you're out on the perimeter, Grayson Allen may be able to get underneath RJ, which makes it a little bit tough. If he's in the post, Grayson Allen may foul RJ, which maybe is going to send him to the line. You know what I mean? So I would, obviously not every possession, but try to find some possessions where RJ's in the post against Grayson Allen. Or even if they get switched off and Carter is on RJ, I'm definitely going into the post then. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking like, some of those type of schematic things in which you can use RJ and not go outside of your offense, but, within your offense, find how you can take advantage of the matchup. You know what I mean? Comment, this guy Joe, for those who don't know, that is my son. He said RJ
That's
will
that
have
guy Joe. That
yeah, he said RJ will have Allen checking him. It's his night to go for 30. He's got to be hitting that shot to go for 30. He said Randle has to deal with Giannis and Holiday plays great D. So RJ can turn it up tonight for us to get the W. He said RJ has to use his size in that mid post with his strong left and be consistent with the corner 3. He hasn't been consistent with that corner 3 so far this season. We'll see if he starts to turn it on, Then you got Randle and Giannis. And what I'm going to say is it's got to be a team effort when guarding Giannis. And he's shooting 40% from the three-point line so far this season. So and he's taking almost 4 attempts per game. So, don't just assume he's not going to be able to knock down the three. You know what I mean? And Randle, I think in his mind, he's got to say to himself, right now, I'm going to let the offensive game come to me. Whatever I get, I get. I'm going to focus my attention on defending Giannis. You know what I'm saying? And just let the ball move. Let the ball be free-flowing. I mean, which he's done already. You know what I'm saying? Let the ball move, be free-flowing. I'm going to focus on Giannis. Let RJ, Fournier, and Brunson carry the grunt of the offensive load. You know what I'm saying? And, when I get my open threes, I'm going to take them. I get some drives to the basket, I'm going to take them. I grab something on a break, I'm going to take them. Take it. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm going to try to defend Giannis the best that I can, which, of course, is going to be a tough task. And still, the team is going to have to be heavily involved because now, and we'll see if it continues, but now this guy's knocking down threes. I don't know what we're going to do about it. Andy, your thoughts on Randle and Giannis?
Well, like you said, just to add to that, this is going to be a great one-on-one matchup as far as I see, because I really feel that strength-wise, this might be the best pair in the NBA, 1 versus 1. Giannis is really strong. Julius is really strong. Might be a case of the irresistible force versus the immovable object, right? So I just hope that Julius won't force the offense.
Right.
You don't want to force the offense on one of the best defenders in the NBA. That will be totally stupid, right? Then again, might be the case that he can get a foul call here and there, and that's going to eliminate Giannis from being on the court. So that might also be so. Listen, if Giannis catches a fast foul, you might try to go that route. But on the defensive end, I think at the beginning, Thibs is going to try to go and play Randle straight up on Giannis. Of course, the whole defense of the Knicks, the whole scheme is to collapse in the paint, get the defensive rebound. So, I bet you were going to see RJ and Fournier collapse and try to help out when Giannis is going to try to put the ball on the court and make a move.
Mm-hmm.
Randle has to remember that he has both Mitch and Hartenstein behind him, if that's going to be the case. So he has that one, help defender on the side. So that's why I think we're not going to be doubling Giannis in the first half.
Okay.
Might be the case in the second half, but the first half, I think we're going to try to play Giannis straight up and just, put that help defender really, really late in the play, literally from Mitch trying to block the shot or guys trying to just poke the ball, make a move at the beginning. Listen, and like always, playing versus the best players in the NBA, you got to cross your fingers and hope they're going to have a bad night.
Right,
Yeah, that's
right,
true.
right. And I want to let RD Knicks know that I'm going to get to a super chat. I'm just waiting. We kind of passed RJ. We're going to come back to RJ because he had the question about RJ. So I will get it. I will get to it, RD Knicks. I didn't forget. Heck Brizo asked the question or made the statement that he thinks is very likely, and thank you for the super chat, by the way, that Mitch gets the Giannis assignment. I don't know. I don't know if he gets the assignment. Will we see Mitch on Giannis from time to time? Yes, but I can't. It's hard for me to see Mitch guarding Giannis in open space on a regular basis. You know what I mean?
That's an idea.
It's an idea, but I don't think you're going to see that. I don't think it's going to be the base defense against Giannis. I think it's going to be Randle. He's done a good job in the past. I just don't know if you're going to make it the base defense. With Mitch guarding Giannis, because I don't think he can do it every single possession out in open space. I don't think he's ready for that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they did some of that last year. I think they did put Mitch on Giannis for some possessions.
They did for some possessions, but I just don't think it's going to be the full game.
As far as defensively defending against Giannis is concerned, I think Tibbs really has a good strategy. I think he's had a good strategy, last couple of years against Giannis. The question, remains: can the Knicks be able to close out in 3-point shooters? Right. The Knicks they give up a ton of 3-point attempts per game. I think they're number one in the NBA as far as 3-point attempts that they give up, right? We only give up 30% 3-pointers, which is good. But I still think we give up too many open threes, in my opinion, based on the first 4 games of the season. So we got to be able to contain that. Once Giannis is able to drive, they kick the ball out, swing it around a few times. We got to be able to get to our man and be able to contend against those 3-point shots. Offensively, I guess an idea I like the way we're playing offensively right now, but, number one blocking team in the NBA, right? And that's due to Giannis and Lopez being in the paint. So perhaps, I know many fans probably won't like to hear this, but what if we have more Julius Randle in an on-ball role up top with Jalen Brunson, have RJ off the ball? So RJ off the ball, so to speak, and then have the Knicks run their offense through that way, through Randle for this game, just to take Giannis out of the paint. Maybe we'll get some better opportunities. Obviously, Randle's not going to be dominating the basketball. You have Jalen Brunson there, but just to get Giannis outside of the paint, that might be something the Knicks choose to do today. Randle more of an on-the-ball role, more than we've seen him this season. But, just, as a strategy to try to get Giannis out of that paint. What do y'all think about that?
Oh, say that again, as a strategy to get Giannis out the paint?
Have Randle more at the top of the key type of role.
Oh.
Get Randle top of the key, kind of facilitating the offense with Brunson, along with Brunson, not Randle dominating the basketball the whole time, but just as a strategy to try to get Giannis from out of there.
You might. I mean, I think that's definitely possible, just to get him out of the paint. Obviously, you still got Lopez down there, and you can't really put Mitch outside that far. But, it's better to have one 7-foot guy in there that can block shots than 2, right? One thing, this kind of leads me. So I think that could be, something that they do. Randall's going to be on the perimeter a lot anyway, so Giannis is going to have to be out there and at least respect, even though Randall's only shooting 30% from 3, at least respect it. You know what I'm saying? Because, he can hit it. But speaking about shooting that 3 and Mitchell Robinson, Giannis, etc., Andy had mentioned earlier that, Mitch will be out. Mitch will be kind of that weak side defender, which he will be. But he's also going to have to be very, very aware of where Brook Lopez is. Because if he's playing too far in the paint, waiting for Giannis to penetrate, Giannis does penetrate, you kick it right out to Brook Lopez, and then Mitch has to make that recovery, and Lopez will knock him down. You know what I mean? What do you think about that, Andy?
Yeah, and the biggest problem is that Lopez is not only a 3-point corner shooter. He can shoot from the top of the key, the 45-degree angle, so he can be way around the arc. And that's a great problem, because if he would be just standing just in the corner, you can adjust the defensive scheme for Mitch to close the, end line and stuff like that. Lopez is a tricky player. I think one of the biggest hopes is that we got 2 good, reliable centers now, and Lopez won't be able to play 48 minutes.
True.
And their stretch 4 is going to be Bobby Portis, right? Stretch 4-5, and Bobby Portis also can stretch the floor, but I think he's a better end line, corner shooter than from the top of the key.
Yeah.
For at least from what we saw him do on the Knicks and in the previous season on the Bucks, I think that might be the case. Listen, sometimes in these games when a team gets hot and makes 6, 7, even 10% more threes, that's going to be the game winner. So
listen, I would like to see the Knicks maybe utilize Mitchell Robinson in some screener roles a little bit, see if they could take advantage of Brook Lopez and, his lack of foot speed. He's been in the league for a while, so, he's probably used to people trying to take advantage of it, but I at least test it out, see if we can take advantage of it a little bit. But Mitch has definitely got to be aware of where Brook Lopez is out there. We don't want him going crazy, scoring, knocking down threes, and he can score in the post a little bit, little jump hook and this and that. Mitch could have his work cut out for him, without a doubt. But like Andy said, you got iHeart who can come in and give you some valuable minutes there. Josh, your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very concerned about it. I know we talked about the past couple of years, Mitch being able to defend on the perimeter. So I think Mitch's ability to be able to get out there, particularly on the screen and roll situations or screen and pop situations, is going to be imperative for us because we know, again, our 3-point shooting or a 3-point defense has to improve. So something I'm definitely looking at to see if Mitch can be able to do it. But I think the big X factor for us is Hartenstein. Hartenstein is a big X factor for us. I spoke about earlier about having Randle on the perimeter. Mm-hmm. Hartenstein's ability to pass from that high post and all that, that's going to be really big too, because then you take Brook Lopez out the paint or Bobby Portis or whoever's guarding Hartenstein, you take them out the paint, right? So I think even if Mitch doesn't have his best game tonight, offensively, I think having Hartenstein there definitely will help us out to win that front court matchup. But it's still going to be tough regardless, no matter what.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a tough matchup. Now, looking at the benches, the Milwaukee Bucks have a decent bench, in my opinion. You have George Hill, crafty veteran out there on the floor. He can knock down threes. He knows what he's doing out there on the floor. Bobby Portis, he can rebound the ball and knock down threes, maybe affect a shot or two every once in a while. Wesley Matthews, what he can do defensively and shoot the three ball. Serge Ibaka. Right? And I mean, Serge Ibaka used to be, one of your top level forwards in the league. You know what I mean?
Defender, block shots.
Can grab a couple of rebounds. I think they have a very, very formidable bench. An older bench, though. Right? They're kind of older, so maybe we can take advantage of getting out in transition against this bench unit, the Milwaukee Bucks bench unit, because we should have that kind of speed out there on the floor. What does concern me, though, is that their bench unit might be a little more controlled. They have that veteran savvy, you know what I mean? Probably better defensively. Not probably. They're better defensively than our bench unit. I'm a little nervous about this bench unit matchup. Josh, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning when you look at the personnel. But again, I think if the Knicks continue to play the way they're playing, moving the basketball, I think it'll kind of even it out just a little bit. But I do understand the concern by having a veteran type of bench out there. I think Milwaukee's bench is more built for them in the playoffs rather than it is right now. Yeah. That's exactly why they have those guys out there. But I think their bench is basically built the same way their starters are in a way, right? They got guys who can knock down 3-point shots. They got guys who can block shots. They got guys who can play defense. It's the same kind of similar thing, just not on the same type of level. So I think, it's going to be, our hands are going to be full tonight. No doubt about it. We're talking about a championship contending team, championship contending roster. So no matter whether we talk about the starters or the bench, still going to be the same type of concerns for me. So I think the concerns you have are valid.
Yeah. Defensively, this team is just going to be tough defensively. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Andy, your thoughts about the bench units?
Well, like you guys said, our bench definitely younger, faster. Their bench more savvy, and probably more experienced. What we got to also add here is that the Bucks as a whole team, they're basically the same team from last season.
Right.
We got two big new rotation pieces in Jalen Brunson, the main point guard, and the bench, the anchor of the bench in Isaiah Hartenstein. The Bucks literally have every of the guys in the rotation from last season, and Javon Carter only played like half of the season or like 20 couple of games with them, but he still went with them to the playoffs, and he knows how this team goes and how this team rolls. So I think that's also a major factor for them. They know each other, and they know the tendencies, how to play if the ball isn't falling, the shot isn't going in. They can do the adjustments on the fly, I think. Meanwhile, we gotta go sometimes and try different things. Sometimes get out of the scheme, try to score. Like I said before, if this might be a type of game when someone's hot, you gotta ride that hot hand and hope he's gonna lead you to a W.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's take a look at the team comparison, ladies and gentlemen. The Milwaukee Bucks. I didn't mean to start with the Bucks. I meant to start with the Knicks. There we go. Now we got the Knicks up on the screen. The Knicks are averaging 122.8 points per game so far this season. 50 rebounds, 26.8 assists, 13.3 turnovers, 5.8 steals, and 6.3 blocks. They're shooting 48% from the field, 33.1% from three, and 75.9% from the free throw line. They're 16th in pace at 99.92. They're 6th in offensive rating at 116.6, and they're 8th in defensive rating at 108.9. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're averaging 108.3 points per game, grabbing 49.7 rebounds per game, 24.7 assists, 16.3 turnovers. That's a little bit high. Maybe the Knicks can take advantage of some of those extra turnovers the Bucks are committing. 6 steals, 9.3 blocks per game, because you got shot blockers out there. Giannis, Brook Lopez, Serge Ibaka coming off the bench. You got guys who can block shots. Bobby Portis. They're shooting 47.1% from the field, 35.8% from the three-point line. Their free throws are 75.9%. All right, they're 21st in pace at 99.17, 24th in offensive rating at 109.1, and they're first in defensive rating at 98.3. That's really what I want to talk about. How do you think the Knicks respond to this level of defense? We haven't seen it so far this season. Decent defending teams, but not like this. How do you think they respond?
Well, Sam, I tell you how I do not want the Knicks to respond. I don't want them to play super heavy isolation basketball, because I think that plays right into the hand of what Milwaukee's trying to do to you defensively, right? The Milwaukee wants to slow the game down. They want to go at a slower pace. They want to put less shots up, right? Because we all know they have capable players out there that can go out and make shots. So if you play their kind of game, slowing it down, I think they got you. Cancel Christmas, right? So the Knicks need to continue to move the basketball, play faster, and just try to get as many shots up as they can. Of course, in rhythm, force some turnovers, like you said. Milwaukee's susceptible to the turnover. Get out in transition, and then try to beat them that way on the road. Especially, I think the Knicks need to kind of put the game towards in that direction instead of playing isolation basketball, because I don't think that's going to work against this team.
Yeah, no doubt. Andy?
Well, Sim, like I said before we came on, I think these stats are a little bit skewed, because Knicks played for 5 games. They played 2 overtime games.
Mm-hmm.
So that, scoring, the Knicks scoring 122 points a game, it's a little bit skewed. What we gotta mention is that, like you said, the Bucks, the best defensive rating on 98.3. Meanwhile, the Knicks, what we can add are also, they got Mitch as the best offensive rebounder, but the Knicks are top in the league in second chance points per game and in points in the paint per game. Meanwhile, the Bucks have the best defensive rating, their best defensive rebounding team, their best blocking team in the league. So, like I said before, this might be the game that, depending on the day, what's going to be better, the defensive rebounding or the offensive rebounding, the scoring in the paint or the defense in the paint. So, I think I was going to say this, but I wasn't going to say this, but I'm going to say it actually, that refs might play a huge part of this game because a couple of calls early in the game might totally derail the whole, tactics of the coaches, for the rest of the game.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one. Let me get to a phone call real quick. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yes, this is Brad from Maryland.
Brad from Maryland.
Long time listener of the calls, and Sim and Andy and Josh. I'm usually Bleak Sports in the mod pit, but one of the few things I wanted to point out is what do you guys think about staying home on the shooters and letting Randle and Giannis go one-on-one, and just letting Giannis beat you, and don't let the whole team beat you?
The scary thing for me, because I understand the philosophy and what you're thinking about, is that I believe that Giannis can beat you pretty much every time down the floor. And if you let Randle and Giannis go one-on-one every single possession, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be every single possession, but you just let Giannis go one-on-one with Randle. I don't think there's going to be a few times Randle gets a stop, but I think Giannis is going to score a lot, and
want to keep Randle out of foul trouble.
yeah, and then what happens if Randle does get in foul trouble and now you got to switch somebody else out there on him? It's a strategy you have to think about, though, right? Do we take the chance to see if anybody else, if we just let Giannis, will Giannis score 100 points? You know what I'm saying? I understand the philosophy there. Will Giannis score 100? If we can, obviously Drew Holiday is going to impact the game as well, but then they don't have many other people in that starting unit that you're really going to fear if Giannis is not kicking the ball out to them. But then you got the second unit. I don't know. That's a tough one. You know what I mean? Because right now, Giannis is knocking down a 3 at a 40% clip. So, creating that wall and giving Giannis space to shoot may not work. That's a good question. I don't know.
And the other point that I thought would be interesting is that quasi zone that Randle saw in that Atlanta series.
Right.
I wonder, how does that type of defense work with Giannis, and how can we implement that maybe tonight?
See, I'm not sure. I think in the past it has worked with Giannis because he wasn't as good of a shooter. I think he's a little more confident shooting the ball and shooting the mid-range.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if he is confident in shooting that mid-range shot and he's making it, then that nullifies that quasi-zone type of defense. Because I think the way that it impacted Randle is he wasn't sure what to do. He wasn't sure if he should shoot the mid-range, if he should pass it, if he should still try to create the double team. He wasn't sure how to impact, how to break that little quasi-zone type of thing. I believe that Giannis understands how to do it. But I'm going to say this. I would use it. I think you got to throw different types, give him different looks. Make him have to figure out what to do on different possessions. Maybe some possessions you are sticking to the defenders and letting him go one-on-one. See what he does. Then sometimes maybe you're doing that quasi-zone. You know what I mean? And making him have to think about it. I think that's the way you got to attack it. Throw different defenses at him. You know what I'm saying? And make him have to think throughout the game instead of just one thing and then he can figure it out. If you throw different defenses at him, at least you're adding another obstacle for him to get over,
Yep, definitely agree.
Yeah.
And hey, guys, man, I appreciate you guys taking my call. I wanted to get on the panel one day. I'm trying to figure out how I can get on the panel.
Shoot me an
please
email.
Let me know how I can do that.
srussell@nothing-but-knicks.com. Shoot me an email.
All right, awesome, man. I appreciate that, guys.
Appreciate you, my man.
Peace.
Take care, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me get to a couple of super chats because I do got to get out of here soon. Let me see. Who do we got? RD Knicks, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. He said, do you think RJ needs to slim down and play the 2 more? This season, he looks slow and heavy. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that he tried to put on weight. Maybe it's, muscle that he put on. You know what I mean? And we have to see, where his development is. I don't know if he's slow and heavy or not. But me, I don't think that he's. For me, a 2 guard is like an Evan Fournier type of player. I don't see RJ being that kind of guy, that kind of a player.
I mean, RJ has always been a kind of like a slow-footed kind of individual. I mean, and there's no diss to him. I mean, he can score in other different ways. I know me and Harl Will were arguing about it for a long time. About RJ being slow, can't jump over a quarter. That's just who he is. I mean, I think Knicks fans are trying to turn him into something that he's not, right? Or look at him as something that he's not. He's not that kind of player. I think even if you put him at the 2, teams can adjust and put 3s on him, right? So, I think it's interchangeable between the 2 and the 3 with RJ. I just think at this point, people are trying to find excuses for him, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think RJ is the type of player. He's never going to have speed and, lightning speed, and he's never going to jump out the gym. He's just got to learn the craftiness. Bottom line, he's got to develop more craftiness around the rim. Continue to develop his footwork, get a consistent mid-range jump shot, utilize that jazz step on the mid-post, pow, pow, boom, things like that.
Salute to Heck Breezo, by the way.
Yeah. John from Still Knicks Fans. If you're not subscribed, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Knicks Fans, make sure you do that right away as soon as the show is over. He said, what's good, MBK family? Could you see Holiday on Barrett and Carter on Brunson? You know what? I could see that happening throughout the game without a doubt. Is it going to start off that way? I don't know. Possibly, Carter's a good defender as well. Holiday probably a better defender. But right now, with the way that Brunson is playing, you may want Holiday on Brunson. And then if RJ starts to heat up, then maybe you decide to go with a different type of a matchup. You know what I mean? But all good questions, ladies and gentlemen. All good questions. Big game for tonight. I predicted the other day that I thought the Knicks were going to win this game, and I'm sticking with it. I think the Knicks are going to win this game. We beat the Bucks. We always come up with a win against the Bucks somehow, some way. And maybe this is the first one of the season we come up against the Bucks and we get us a win tonight. I'm going to predict the win. I don't know what the score is. Maybe 103-99, something like that. But I'm predicting a win tonight for the Knicks. Josh, we'll get this win tonight.
Wow. Typical Uncle Fulio fashion. No, I don't think we're going to win tonight. I think it'll be a close game, though. I think the final score would be 115-109. I think the Bucks pull it out late.
Okay. All right. I thought you predicted that the Knicks was going to win the other day, but maybe I was on a show with somebody else. Maybe it wasn't you. Andy?
Sim, I'm going to predict a win. Listen, only because if the Knicks win, we're going to literally be on top of the East.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be top with the Bucks there. So I hope we're going to win. Got to get that screenshot, not Photoshop.
Right.
So,
and you know what? Part of my explanation when I predicted that the Knicks were going to win the Bucks is the whole storyline of it. The Knicks beat the Bucks. They're on top of the world. Knicks fans on top of the world, dreaming crazy. And then it all comes crashing down when Donovan Mitchell drops 45 on us.
And listen, Sim, also the narrative with the Giants were 5-1 too. So.
Right.
Maybe we got to win this game and the Cavs game.
and when I say it all comes crashing down, I'm not saying the season comes crashing down. I'm saying Knicks fans, come crashing down.
Yeah.
Because, you beat the Bucks and they're like, we're gonna bust Cleveland, and then Donovan Mitchell scores 45, and then people are mad, that we didn't trade for Donovan Mitchell and all that kind of stuff, and then we come back and get back in our winning ways.
The rhetoric, ladies and gentlemen.
The rhetoric. Yeah. That happens with the Knicks. Rhetoric happens with the Knicks all the time. Hector Gaston, thank you for the super chat. He said, I think the team is confident enough to go to Milwaukee and beat them. If we beat them, that puts us in contenders conversation, top 3 in the East. This is exactly what I'm talking about on why what I just said fits the storyline. That's what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, any last things before I get out of here? Because I'm about to be late for a meeting. Starts at 5. It's 4:55. It's going to take me 15 minutes to get to the place. So
let's go next, Sim.
Yeah, let's get it.
Take you longer.
Real quick, congratulations to Mike Breen. Another award for Mike Breen. He just won the Vince Scully Award, which is a legendary broadcasters award in the art of journalism and sportscasting. So congratulations to Mike Breen. I'm sure they'll announce it on a broadcast tonight if you're watching on MSU. So big ups to him.
No doubt. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate your time. Catch me tonight after the game. 10:30, 10:45 or something like that. The game starts at 8, not 7:30. So it's going to be a little bit later. I'll catch you then, ladies and gentlemen. We out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.